2017 Hot 6 GSL Season 1 Code S Round of 16.
It's time for the winners match. In our first group of the round of 16, one of these two will be the first survivor making it to the round of 8. That much closer to becoming this year's first GSL Code S champion.
Yeah, this is a crazy match we have coming up here right now, Tasteless.
It is.
Stats versus TY, definitely two of the very best players in the world for quite some time indeed. Both even making top 8 and top 4 at BlizzCon respectively. Looking at this, who do you think? Who do you think takes this?
Oh man, that's a tough one.
It's a hard one, right?
I actually really don't know. Do you want me to just like pick one if I had to?
Sure.
Gun to my head, who do I take? TY.
Yeah, I
think TY, but
slightly
thing is,
leaning towards him.
I feel like maybe that's foolish. Stats is like a really adaptable player. I don't know. I feel like with TY, he's one of these guys you'll try to cheese out, and he will tie you into a pretzel and then stand over you all akimbo, being like, why would you try to do that to me?
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Yeah.
I didn't even want to beat you like that, but you made me do this. But I don't know, Stats is the complete package of Protoss.
Yeah.
I just feel like TY is hard to beat if you just look at big armies moving on the map, the position setup, how does he engage? He's just really good at that.
And I think like, for instance, Stats, I think he has some of the best PvT. His PvT in the round of 32 when every Protoss was really having a hard time with it. Yeah. I felt like him in Classic were the only ones playing macro games and winning, right? Like we saw like Hero, for instance, like just bashing some nerds with like his aggressive play like normal, but like I think he's really fantastic at that macro PvT right now, but like TY is not a Terran that will bump his head in the wall too many times. Someone like Beyond or Maro might just be like, no, I am going to kill you, and Stats can deny that, but I don't know, I feel like TY, he kind of will back it up for a moment, be like, okay, you want to play that type of game? Okay, let's do it.
TY has been groomed for some time to be the very best pro gamer in the world.
So well said.
And Stats was not always a great StarCraft 2 player. I'm not saying he was bad or anything, but he's really improved. He's leveled up continuously, like Goku or something in Dragon Ball Z, and he's not stopping either. We've seen Stats be on top of his game for years now. It's scarier as each passing year comes. We're in a new year right now. Maybe this is his time, but TY, the player who's been playing, wouldn't he first play on stage? Was that 11?
A million years ago, yeah, something like 12,
like, I think it was 11. Could be. He's been playing for that long, and it's definitely served him right. I can't imagine he gets phased. Anyways, guys, let's start game number 1. In the upper left, in the blue,
TY.
in the bottom right, in the red,
Splice Stats.
So, this map, Abyssal Reef, was chosen by Stats. And it's like really easy to stop drops from coming in on this map. Like you kind of have a small main base and like, yeah, I think it's like pretty easy to defend things here, but I feel like a lot of a TY fan right there, Taeyong, that's his name. But I feel like TY will have something prepared specifically here, like a strong tank push of some sort.
Is that one of those images that cannot possibly be real because it's not connected at all points, on all corners, or it somehow connects into itself, like one of those optical illusions?
No, I think it's just a really crappily drawn probe.
Oh, okay. They cannot possibly connect with it. Hold on, there's a... That was like down there for a little bit, Artosis.
Yeah, I think he's going to proxy Stargate.
Yeah, it looks like he waited just long enough.
But,
from Chile, thank you for coming down.
Used to play with a lot of Chilean StarCraft 1 players.
There were a lot of good players back in the day in Chile. Probably still
South
are now.
America had quite a few good StarCraft 1 players.
That was actually the weird thing about Especially StarCraft 1 back then. It did not. Yeah, it was such. It's really old now, but even back when we were tournaments for it, it was pretty old. So you would get people like from all sorts of places you hadn't heard of. Like you check the flag on their account, and be like, "Where is this?" And be like, "Macedonia." And then like go look up Macedonia and be like,
"Well, he wasn't any good, but the
Oxurg."
Yeah. I don't care how many lings you can make. It doesn't mean you're good. But okay, so this proxy,
out. I think he actually just didn't see that.
Did he really not?
I guess he didn't because he shaded up north. Oh.
This is kind of a wild thing that I'm watching right here. Huh. Like I've never seen a Reaper just sit there in a Protoss space like this.
Well, it's funny because it loses equity as time passes.
Yeah. He timed this out in kind of an interesting way. Like if you only made one Adept, I guess there's not an Adept there, and you'll definitely see whatever tech your opponent has 100% by then.
Yeah.
But now he sees nothing and not even another pylon. So he should know that this is a proxy Stargate most likely, right?
You would think so. And right now the Reaper's still out here. It looks like it's going to be able to get one probe. A lot of multitasking for everybody. There's so many different sides being hit. He got in, but that's actually as the 2 Marines spawn out here. That's pretty cute.
Okay, the Oracle is going to be finished up pretty quickly. Viking is on the way. A Phoenix follow-up as well. Stats is very, very good at Adept Phoenix if he chooses to go down that route.
Adept Phoenix, a style of play that does not lend itself that well if you get to super late game. It has a really critical moment where it's strong early on. The Oracle now doing a lot of damage with the Vikings out, and with that mine hit, the Oracle is out of the game.
That is a really, really big deal. It only got 3 SCVs. This Reaper actually has gotten 3 kills as well.
Oh my God, he shot it and it just went. Did everybody see that? It just went to the moon.
Yeah. Well, it's because they're underwater. You float up when you're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why the ocean, you can almost walk across on all the dead whale bodies. Anyways, third base on the way. Phoenix is flying over here, trying to see exactly what's going on, exactly what he has to prepare for. The Oracle, he did lose the Oracle too fast.
Also, keep in mind, there's some risk with moving the Phoenixes out through here. There are still Widow Mines.
Yeah.
Every passing minute, there's a higher risk. There's more Widow Mines in there, too. So he's got to be very careful.
Yeah, if he takes too many more Widow Mine hits, then the game can just landslide out of control, I guess. I guess not landslide because we're on Abyssal Reef, though, right?
Yeah.
Typhoon out of control?
Water slide. Yeah,
Whirlpool.
No, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, Viking over here, seeing where the Stargate is exactly.
Scaring that fish back into his plant.
That's right.
He's like, I'm just looking for my son. Have you seen a little fish?
Have you seen Nemo? Now that you've had a daughter for a couple of years, Artosis, you're like...
I watch kid movies all the time.
You probably know all about all the different kid movies.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
You have no idea. I rewatched Aladdin the other day.
Yeah.
Finally saw Ice Age.
Oh,
Not really that good. I didn't like it.
Yeah?
Yeah. Wasn't a fan. Ray Romano just... I don't care. I don't care. You're not funny. I'm sorry. You seem like a nice guy, but he's just... Cut it out.
Oh, Forge is now done.
Yeah. Claves and +1, no doubt, going to be coming up here. And it really, what we are looking for, the important point of this game will be the attack of TY. When does he decide to move out, and with what does he decide to move out? Innovation, when he plays against Adept Phoenix type play, he really likes to use multiple Widow Mines, a couple Liberators, and Marine Medevac to try to just crush into the third base. I don't know if that's going to work out perfectly here for him. A lot of gates on the way.
Yeah, well, the fact that the Stargate's not really is going to be in commission anymore means that the Protoss army is, at least sophistication-wise, cut in half for what we would normally have seen this game go into.
Yeah.
So there's just Immortals now being made, a lot of Adepts, as you were saying, especially now with those additional gates finishing up, and then some Sentries to try to pick the fights like that. Now, can Terran move out like this? Should they? I guess TY is going to teach us. This has been a bit of a funny game because Stats didn't do the initial amount of damage that you could do with this early on. A lot of times you would want to be a little bit cautious against a Protoss if they have a ton of Adepts with Glaives and Phoenixes, but we didn't end up going into that tech because it was shut down. So Protoss trying to transition into something else. Terran now moving up. He's got to be careful. He's going up that small area, and stasis is a real thing.
Yeah, if he force fields that, you are losing a lot of Marines even if you try to pick them up. But he has these Widow Mines now. So the Widow Mines make it really hard to actually engage with Adepts. They really kind of shred them. So, ooh, good move by Stats, picking one off right away, utilizing a couple force fields to make sure he gets that kill. And, like, so far, this is an awesome defense by Stats.
And that's all Stats has to do for the time being. Stats had no intention of trying to come in there and smash like traditional Adept Phoenix. He's staying back. He's rebuilding and developing his army. TY was the one that tried to come in there, throw a few jabs in, and was shut down. And TY now taking his third base a little bit later. But let's not forget the way we've seen TY play already today. He seems to take the bases much later than his opponents do, power up, and just stay in a good position, and ultimately figure out where to go to win.
Oh, the Phoenix is sitting here waiting for this drop to come in, but of course Phoenixes don't kill medevacs that quickly. The drop goes down, and a couple Widow Mines going to burrow as well. It's a great Widow Mine hit there at the natural. Can he get out? He doesn't care to.
Another drop over here in the main. We have some Stalkers warping in, but that will certainly not be enough to take on this many Marines. Pylon cannons have been triggered. Meanwhile, that attack over there at the bottom being cleaned up. But here in the main, he could try to take out the Nexus.
Oh, my God, and that's exactly what he's going for right now. But Stats coming in with almost too much army. He has to start attacking the actual army on top of him.
He picks up. He's now rotating here to the left. Will he just try to evacuate the area? I think it would be unwise to try to drop over there. Also, Phoenixes can still do damage to those medevacs. Unfortunately, he's not attacking the most ideal one. A regroup now down here with Widow Mines as the rest of the army is meeting up just outside the second base here of Stats.
Yeah, and this could start getting very scary. TY has his third base. He has Liberators out now. He has an okay amount of Widow Mines with this army and Marauders being added in. So it's getting a little bit tougher. He's definitely still in this game, though. He's got a lot of army left over. So that's like a really good part, but he did lose a good chunk of probes. He doesn't have any splash damage either, which is obviously a big part. The later we get into this game, the harder it is to make this work as Protoss without any splash.
It is important to note he didn't lose any of the other sophisticated parts of his army, though. Kept the Immortals. I don't believe he was losing sentries.
Yeah, no, he didn't lose. Like, he lost Adepts and probes.
You are completely correct, though, that he needs to actually have some kind of splash here, because Terran eventually, especially with these Widow Mines, that's really what hurts the Adepts when you try to go for that Phoenix Adept comp in some games. All right, he's coming in. It looks like these Adepts are not going to shade in underneath those Liberators. Stimmy coming forward here. The Nexus now under fire, getting lower. The Stalkers in position, but the rest of the Protoss army is not. The Nexus goes down, knocking Stats into a two-base economy.
This is really a good push by TY, and with those Widow Mines under the Liberators, this is so hard for Stats to actually engage. He's trying to stay on the outside edge here, but losing that third base is just, it's almost a killer.
He's actually going to go into the main, and I really like what we're seeing here because that's going to keep him safe back at home. The Liberators actually regrouping. This is going to be really tough for Protoss to engage into now, especially the long walk all the way back over there. The Adepts coming in from that Warp Prism are taken out. The Nexus over here has been denied. This is actually a one operational Nexus Protoss. He almost manages to deny Blink, but decides to instead fight off the army, knowing that as every minute passes, TY is going to be that much bigger army-wise with his functional command centers compared to the only currently one Nexus up and mining here for Stats.
Oh, man. Stats does carve through the army eventually, but those Liberators got so much value down right there. TY coming in towards this new base, the new third, and Stats is just all over the place with his units.
Okay. He's going to try to push in here a little bit further. This is the second Nexus now that's up and running, but it's in a super exposed location. Meanwhile, the Liberator is going to be doing some more damage over here. I'm wondering if TY might be attacking with too little. I don't know, man. Widow Mine hits him pretty strong.
Yeah, those Widow Mines with the Liberators doing such a great job. In fact, a Liberator at the same time in the natural, completely unnoticed.
GG!
Yeah, wow.
TY just smashes Stats.
Yeah. Look,
wow.
I love how he switched his speed up, right? Like, things got a little bit weird. That Reaper play was really bizarre, but like when he lost the Widow Mine with the very initial push, he just backed up, waited for more medevacs, and hit multiple places. And, you know, he mixed it up a lot this game and eventually hit that Liberator Widow Mine push that when he got into position on that third base, Stats was super dead. Like, there was no way for him to hold that.
Yeah. Well, Stats had a bit of a bumpy start. Although I would say that his
Losing that Oracle is so hard.
But then again, I guess when you do a build like that, you are risking that.
Yeah.
Like, nobody can complain if you do an Oracle build like that and you fly into Widowmine. It's like,
absolutely.
Well, that's what Terran has, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Especially his Reaper was in your base and he didn't see a pylon. He knows that's a starting. Come on.
Yeah.
What else is it? It's nothing else.
Cool scouting timing there by
that was so weird,
TY with the Reaper. But I thought on the mini-map it should have showed up as a blip.
I thought so, too.
So, I guess even the best players in the world can make that mistake and just not see it.
Well, the next map going to be Newkirk Precinct. This map is not really that bad for Protoss vs. Terran, so maybe he can come back against TY.
We are now getting into that game number 2 right now. TY with a 1-0 lead versus Stats, who has to win this game and the next. The winner is our first player to move on to the round of 8 in the GSL Codex. In the bottom left, in the blue,
TY.
in the bottom right, in the red,
Splice Stats.
Will he be going for something aggressive in this game? A lot of good one-base openers right now in Protoss vs. Terran. Especially on a relatively small map like this where your Mothership Core can get over there in 2 seconds. A lot of pylon rushes are used here. We'll see if something like that is what Stats wants to go for. TY, though, looked so good in that last game. Like,
he really did.
I mean, he got the Widowmine hit on the Oracle, and, like, that can be a game decider a lot of the time at such a high level. You know, you lose that Oracle, it's like, okay, this was scouting detection, the threat of damage, this was so much for you. And now it's gone, and you've got 3 SCVs, that's not enough.
It's also important to note, especially at the level that TY is at, you know how many people have tried to do that? And you know how many times he's gotten that Oracle? He probably knows the exact direction the game is going from there.
Yeah, for sure. And it was really good follow-up as well. Stats was doing a lot of the right things and, trying to get something done with, some force fields plus the Adepts picking off a Widowmine. But eventually, TY just kind of outpositioned him, and that's what we've seen historically from TY's TVP. He understands where your units can be and where he can move his. It's not his micro or his macro. It is all that as well, of course, but he's got this other superpower, which is a gigantic brain.
Big,
his skull must be so thin for how big his brain has to be.
Well, as this game goes on, we're having just something that's going to be a lot more orthodox. I think both these guys pulling back a little bit, especially Stats in this case.
Yeah.
Stats not going to take any risk, going to try to play more standard PvT. It does make me a little bit curious because Stats went for that build in Game 1, if maybe he was unsure about a standard game in Game 2. Then again, there's a lot of different reasons why you can do that, so I don't want to read too much into it.
Yeah.
Like, decide what his thoughts are and then tell the world what he's really not thinking. But I just am curious about that. And also how this is going to unfold in a more standard game. So go ahead, Artosis.
Well, we're talking about standard. This is like a very old build that we see from Stats. He's probably going to go into Blink and Observers and 2 base Colossus. This is what Zest does basically all the time. But here's the thing. If TY can actually catch wind of this, you can do a big siege tank push and make it unfathomably hard for Protoss to do anything against it.
If you have enough siege tanks against a player who's got a small number of Colossus in the army, just especially sometimes the way that the units group up, everything is taking splash damage. Everything is being hit, and
it's very true.
It hurts.
Okay, his Reaper, he sees enough. He sees enough that he should know this is Blink. Now,
did not spot the 2 gates over there, but yeah.
This was a very quick Raven, and in fact, he starts a 3rd CC. Well, I guess he's already kind of chosen his tech path, so I can't be too critical, but well, just for Protosses at home that have seen Zest killing all the Terrans, notice that when they go siege tanks, he doesn't win as much with it can be very hard against siege tank pushes to use a Blink opener.
I suppose there's 2 ways to look at it as well. Is that you could say, well, I could try to kill him now with this. Oh, this is so sick.
Oh, my God.
Oh, God.
You're
Oh,
right.
God, he's so good.
Kidding me.
All right, that's it. Go ahead and unplug Stats Computer. TY moves on,
Yeah.
guys.
TY, wrap up your keyboard,
That's
buddy.
it. Wrap up. No, we don't have to leave, but you're not going to win this series. Okay? It's not your fault. It's just
So
that
good.
TY is really perfectly, amazingly good.
Yeah.
You know what that feels like when you're against somebody and you know that, like, you need to win it, it's important. He comes out with the Raven and Marines and shoots down your observer.
He's exactly in your flight path. Like, he saw where the Robo was.
Yeah.
He knows what the rally's going to look like,
Yeah.
basically. He flies the Raven out.
He
Like,
just knows everything.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm everywhere.
Well, I mean, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but, like, TY's, like, basically just the smartest pro, man.
Yeah.
Like, everything I see him do, I'm just like, well, I don't know. You're just brilliant.
I was saying a minute ago, 2 forges.
Yeah.
I
Two
was-
forges, but not Colossus tech. That's actually kind of interesting.
I was going to say a minute ago that sometimes you don't have to do an attack. Like Artos was saying, you can just stay back and play really, really safe. Because, you know, they're going to, in this case, it looks like he's actually going to try to come in here and do some decent damage.
Yeah, maybe lure units to the front with Blink and then drop some Adepts in the back. Could be.
Immortal now on the way. You have an observer back there, not in a great spot, but to see if there's any more medevacs coming in. I think this is somewhat predictable, especially considering this is not the newest build, and 1-1's on the way here, so certainly...
Look at the turret. He's like, yeah, that is predictable. He figured that was exactly when that's going to happen. A little bit slow by TY, though. So, some okay damage coming out. 3 SCVs, really nice. Slows down that turret, some mining time, all that. Pretty good.
Surely that turret will be finished up here, but I believe that is basically the end of the harass.
Now, Stats is going to have to get into some splash damage pretty quickly here.
Or some stats damage.
Well, his stats damage is going to be really good considering he's going to be up an upgrade, right?
That's true. Yeah.
But if he doesn't get splash against a TY that got his 3rd command center at a really good pace, TY might be able to just overwhelm this gateway-based army.
He's trying to chase back these stalkers. Some of them losing HP. I believe some of them should have been bruised by how many shots were received there.
Ooh, look at this. He's actually going across with the Raven as well. Going to try to do some auto turret harass damage.
So funny, because like I remember this is what everybody did initially in the beta, like way long ago, and now it's like kind of back. It's like, yeah. I mean, you can do that. It does kill workers fast.
You would get a Raven with the Tasis build at first.
That's right.
That's a fact.
Yeah. Then eventually we decided that other people had to win as well, and you know, that day is long gone.
Oh, those Widow Mines, man. Oh, my God. Really good Widow Mine hits. Not as good as they could have been. TY going to back up.
But good control there by TY. This is, of course, eating up some of the energy from that mothership core. By the way, he actually, you know what's really cute about this with the Raven? He right-clicks the Warp Prism on it.
Oh, yeah, just kind of follows it around.
He just tags it with a
Warp
Warp Prism.
I guess it can't attack it as long as you run from auto turrets when it get placed.
Yeah. So that's just something pretty cute to think about.
A lot of auto turrets coming out. And
so, I'm sorry, Artosis, go ahead.
I was just going to say the Widow Mine's being repositioned.
So one thing that I do want to emphasize here, and Artosis was touching on this earlier, but we've had a few skirmishes, is that you do need splash. Having 1-1 and now getting 2-2 is pretty handy.
Yeah.
But without splash damage, you just don't quite do okay against a Terran army.
Yeah.
There are too many little Terran units, like Marines and Marauders, all firing, being healed. At times, you're not all attacking the same units. That when a Terran has a comparable army to your Protoss Tier 1 comparable army, let's assume that perfect force fields are not put down, because I guess that could change any fight.
Yeah.
Terran basically kills you. You need to have something out there that's going to do damage to the clump and not just the individual unit.
Yeah, splash damage is super important for Protoss as you get later into the game, but well, his 2-2 is so fast here, and TY is a little bit slow on his upgrades. So there is going to be a period of time where Stats is up by 3 upgrades. He doesn't need splash during that time, but if TY isn't out fighting during the entire time, like, he should just be kind of fine.
2-2's coming up here. Now, the Widow Mines, that's some splash damage threat that Protoss is going to have to be careful and respect.
Yeah,
now, there
are
tricks you can do where you can spread out the Adepts in certain ways, but it looks like he's not going to do that this time around. Liberator now looping around here to the upper right. Oh, I think he was going to drop, but he backed up when it was spotted, which is a smart move.
Yeah, he was actually blinking up into that area.
Oh, he's going to lose these Widow Mines.
Oh boy, this is a great Liberator setup. And by the way, Stats just had 2-2 finish. This might be a very good time for him to actually press into this third base. Thing is, the Widow Mines could be a little bit tough for him to clear.
Siege tanks,
Siege tank.
Liberator's up, a good amount of Marauders, and all the 4 Widow Mines have been pulled back here. He's continuing to try to burrow them into ideal spots. Some consideration here from Stats about maybe looping around into the main. I don't believe it's going to happen, though.
Yeah, he's trying to find some sort of angle that he can make work for this. But those Widow Mines are making it tough for him to do a full engage.
He's coming down now. A really nice arc over here. The Stalkers do blink forward. There is one tank here in the back, but the targeting is pretty good with the 3 Immortals up here. I don't know if these Marauders stand a chance. With nothing underneath the Liberators, they're going to have to pull out as well.
These upgrades just being absolutely savage right now against just the 1-1 army of TY. And it looks like Stats will break him. 23 SCVs killed, as well as most of the army so far, but Stats' army isn't gigantic at the moment.
That's it. With a 4th command center being made there at the entrance, you got to think that I think TY took that game in an odd direction, not truly respecting the tech, maybe perhaps not truly understanding the tech. Coming there from Stats. Did he ever see the 2 forges?
I think eventually he did. There was like a little bit of weirdness, like the Raven opening isn't necessarily bad, but TY definitely liking Ravens quite a bit. Remember, he was getting 2 against live each game. Now
That's true.
He actually opened up with, and the thing is, it's good defensively and good for light harass against Protoss. So I kind of get it in a way because he just wants to get into the later game. But the thing is, his upgrades didn't match the mentality of getting into the later game. Sure, he had a lot of Widow Mines. Sure, he had some nifty unit setups and stuff. But if your opponent is up 3 upgrades for a bit, I mean, that 2 upgrades is too much.
Stats has made a request now to get a headset change, which I'm sure we can do.
But new headset, new me, he says. Into the round of 8, please.
Well, we'll get that sorted out, and then we'll be going on into Game 3. A lot of pressure here. These 2 guys obviously do not want to go down into the losers match. You want to get out now. If you're in the winners match, you want to end it here.
Yeah, and this is hard because you can't, as TY, just like choose to counter something you've seen, because so far, like, those 2 builds Stats showed, infinitely different. Like a proxy Oracle into like Adept Phoenix for a bit, and then like quick blink with double forge. We don't ever really see that build ever.
It's really weird, and if you're going to try that on ladder, I would be very careful.
Oh yeah,
because
on ladder every Terran just makes siege tanks, so you don't want that build.
it's almost like a build you have to pull out against somebody who's really good.
Yeah.
And yes, there are builds like that. I'm sure some of you guys have gotten high up enough in ranks, have started to realize there are strats that certain people do at certain ranks that fade out, but there's also strats that work against certain people at certain ranks because of the range or scope of their game understanding.
Yeah.
And that was a super advanced strat we saw there from Stats, and it didn't seem like TY could adapt to it, but I do not believe you could do that 2 times in a row and make it to the round of 16, or round of 8 rather, in the GSL Codex. In the upper left, in the blue, our Terran player.
TY.
Should be liking his chances of advancing here. Pretty good match so far against Stats, and it's a pretty good match for Terran versus Protoss coming up.
In the bottom right, in the red, he is
Splice Stats.
I think Stats back there really showing us what a top-tier, world-class Protoss player looks like in adapting and managing play style in a best of 3 against a good player. That was a really good build to use in Game 2. Very unusual, not really a cheese, but a kind of unorthodox approach to the game.
Yeah, very
that
much
is
so.
Not within even the highest level meta. I think it's not something you default think is going to happen. At the same time, though, I feel like TY did do a good job until he suddenly realized, oh my god, it's 2-2, and I've made a 4th command center.
Yeah.
He was playing at a very odd tempo, and he is not getting splash damage tech.
Yeah, he was not in a defensive enough spot to ever really hold against that 2-2 army. That was. I keep on rethinking of that game because I just like literally don't even know what this build was that Stats did. It's like so old, but like maybe it had something to do with seeing that Raven. He's like, oh, okay, you're playing super defensive, so I can kind of just be really greedy here and go gateway units and forges. But a good play by Stats, and we've seen him play a very strong PvT on this map in the round of 32. TY here did get a pretty quick gas, going right into that factory after his command center, as is the norm. And this map overall is pretty good for Terran. You know, there's a lot of places you can fly your medevacs that can be a little bit hard for Protoss to block them all.
Well, if Protoss begins to lose 1 or 2 fights and can't keep the sophistication of the army intact, if you look at the distance push-wise on this map for a Terran on a Protoss, they're not going to have the right warpins. Definitely the Robo's not going to be pumping out at a fast enough rate to be okay. So Protoss have to be very careful. They have to really respect the Terran's pushes.
Pushes come very strongly.
It's also a little bit easier for Terran to back up if a Warp Prism comes. It's not a huge map. Easy for Warp Prisms to get in, but it's not like some of the maps we have that are like a lot bigger where you're running back all the time.
You know, positionally, the ways that you can run around as well, you can kind of reposition Mines and Liberators without too much hassle. But, you know, I think a lot of it is just the places that you can fly medevacs and Liberators where you need, like, spotting to actually see it, right? If you fly it up behind the third base, for instance, and there's nothing flying there for Protoss, they don't have an observer or something, they don't see it coming. And it's just suddenly in their main base, and it's like, oh, no, that's pretty tough to deal with. But he's opened up with the Stargate, which is a strong opening for the map.
Oh, it's going to get up, but it's not going to be what?
Oh, man. That's
okay, guys, that could have been done a little bit better.
Yeah.
I know sometimes people don't like it when we're too hard on these pro gamers, but I think we can all agree that was not.
It was not the
way to do
of that scout.
Yeah.
And now he's like already had to activate the Oracle back there to kill the Reaper.
Yeah.
Like he killed the Reaper, so that's really nice. And he is taking a very fast third base, but I don't really expect for. Hey, that's not landed on the tech lab. You see that?
Oh my God.
Okay, there we go. He's moving it now.
At first, it looks like an optical illusion.
Yeah. I like that he's actually kept the Oracle back. Like if you lose the surprise of the Oracle, the odds of it doing any real damage.
Well, let's also not forget what happened in Game 1.
Yeah, yeah.
I think you're completely right. And the Oracle, even if it does almost no damage early on, it does have utility later on.
Yeah.
It's actually some of the most important things that you can do as Protoss the Oracle gives you. The ability to keep tagging all the medevacs to see where they're going to move their army. The option to possibly throw down a stasis to trap them.
Great.
Sometimes you just want to fight with that.
Absolutely the case. Like if you stasis ward, it's somewhere kind of semi-random like Alive does with his mines.
Yeah.
And the first push walks into it, they can't do the push anymore.
Yeah, that's it.
It's over.
And sometimes in this matchup, it does come down to one big fight.
Yeah.
So I think that's a wise decision there. Stats definitely keeping calm and teching up. He does have a few Phoenixes now with the Oracle. Let's see if he moves out. Again, the threat of Widow Mines is what is going to keep Protoss back at home.
Yeah, and this force that he has, like the Oracle, like a defensive Oracle, stops any early draw almost by itself. And with 3 Phoenixes, the odds of TY getting any damage done is almost 0. But TY is not really pushing for anything aggressive.
Oh my God. Dude, he is so good with this style of play.
Yeah, he's
this
interception
approach.
Yeah, he would have been a great football player if he was not as small as he is and lived in a different country that played football.
And has never touched a pigskin before.
Yeah.
Man, that was such just good pushing there. Just good preempting. You know, a lot of times that can go wrong for you and they just fly past you because they just change their direction. But
yeah.
Really cool stuff. Now he's coming around the edges here. Note the caution that TY has approaching this. He wants to basically milk out all the energy from the mothership core, causing pylon cannons here, there, and everywhere.
Now, wait a minute. Where are those Phoenixes and Oracle? It's just going to fly past absolutely everything. So that's pretty solid that he got this drop down. A little bit sloppy there that he wasn't keeping a little bit more track of this. And now double medevac, I think, are headed towards the natural as well, Tasis, with all the flying units over here.
This is what TY does best. I like that he's getting these 2 gases because you know what? It's here. He's not overextending. He's staying far back enough. Meanwhile, drops over here. And the Widowmine does a great connection there on those Adepts. A few more Adepts do come up. However, these Marines are still around, and it goes down. The Motion Core goes down, taking out pylons everywhere. One pylon at the top, powering basically everything.
Oh my God!
Oh
Everything going wrong for Stats right now.
Whoa! It's like he almost just barely had enough, and then he just didn't have enough at all. And now
that's exactly what it was.
That's why I'm paid to do this, guys. I'm really articulate.
Oh my God!
That's yeah.
He almost had exactly enough, and then suddenly he just didn't have enough at all. That's exactly the same thing you said twice, but it's very true. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
He was like, okay, I got this.
Guys,
oh, God, I just don't have it.
Put it on my tombstone. This is actually a disaster now here for Stats. TY really exhibiting why at any point in time he can end a game like that. GG. TY does it. He has won. And I think very deservedly slow.
Yeah.
We said, you know, this is a really tough group. Any of these guys that get out after seeing TY today. I guess hindsight's always 20/20, but he looked really good. He looked way better than everybody else. This may be his season. He may go all the way.
Yeah, I would love to see it.
He may go all the way up to the rank 1 spot that GSL could. It's just like that Reaper that was shot on why am I still forgetting the map? Abyssal Reefs.
Yeah.
That Reaper that was shot and floated to the top. That might be TY just going all the way up.
He might die on Abyssal Reef in the finals.
Yeah.
And float to the top and take the trophy. And it's very true, Tasteless. He's just rock solid. He's so smart. He's so strong. That was just great play tonight. What else can we say?
He adapted really well. God, that last game was scary. He was just hitting in the right spots. You notice he was hitting those assimilators, didn't overextend. Just shaped up enough.
전태양 선수 자신이 말한 부분을 잘
Here's an interview with TY.
1위 진출자 이야기 나눠보겠습니다. 축하드립니다.
감사합니다.
The first player to make the next round. Congratulations. He says thank you.
일단 저번 조지명식
How do you feel
때
now?
B조를 그렇게 권한을 쓰고 나서 이진영 선수가 A조에서도 떨어질 것 같은데 왜 A조를 안 바꾸냐는 말을
Yeah, I used my card to make
자극을
the
많이
SKT
받아서
family
꼭
group.
올라가고 싶어서 연습을 많이 했는데 이렇게 결과가 좋게 나와서 다행이고요.
Other players said, why
좀잘 풀릴
do
것 같아요.
you
확실히 저도
abandon your switching? He's basically talking about the group selection and what TY was allowed to do. And why didn't you change your group? Stuff like that.
유지하시는 게 좋을 것 같네요.
네, 뭐 결과론적으로
You seem confident and motivated. Can you
떨어지지
keep that up?
않았으니까 제 선택이 좋은 선택이었다고 생각을 하고 앞으로는 좀 8강, 4강은 좀 그래도 좀 쉽게 갈 수 있지
Now I believe that my
않을까라는
decision was
생각을
correct.
하고 있고.
네, 오늘 전태양
since I
선수의
made it to the next
경기는
round,
정말 잘 서 있었던 것 같아요. 승자전에서
The next rounds are going to be easier than the round of 16.
다 알고 있었다는 듯이 지뢰로 데뷔하는 모습이나
Format does
또
change, of course.
선수와의 첫 번째 경기에서
Seems like you knew Stats' strategies.
동선까지 정확하게
You prepared with minds.
일단 연습을
Feels like you were expecting all of his moves.
네.
일단 게임하는 내내 상대가 어떤 식으로 움직임을 할지 미리미리 다 보였어요. 그래서 정말
I practiced a lot.
연습에 좀 필요성을 많이 느꼈고 대여병은 좀
I could feel my
기본기는 좀
units
밀렸던 것
movements during the
같은데
games.
일단 제가 대여병을 좀 더 잘 알고 있었던 것 같아요.
I'm not super satisfied though because my basic skill wasn't that good.
Oh my God.
But for predicting movements,
맵 특성을 활용하는
I'm quite good at that.
일단 어비셜리프가 굉장히 테란이 좋은 맵이거든요.
네.
근데 대여병에 빼질
Now they're talking about the new maps a little bit.
이거 뭔가 있긴 있다
Abyssal
생각을 하고 있었어요. 그래서 좀
He says he thinks it's pretty good for
뭐가 올지
Terrans.
계속 생각을 하고 있었기 때문에 좀 쉽게 막을 수 있었던 것 같고.
네.
And I kept thinking, what's going to come
제가
next?
원하는 대로 좀 잘 풀어나간 것 같아요.
네. 이렇게 해서 이변 없이 A조
Second and
탑시드가
third games I just
1위로
played,
진출하는
exactly how I
그림이 나오게
expected to.
됐습니다. 자, 이제 전태양 선수가 올라갔으니까 단연 이제 화제는 B조로 이제 넘어가거든요. 저희가
As you
관심사가 이제
expected,
B조가
you're making it to
됐는데
the next round in first place.
큰 그림으로 완성하신 그 주인공이 전태양 선수잖아요.
네.
전태양 선수는 어떻게 예상하고 계신지 궁금합니다.
일단 B조의 스케치는 다 해놨다고 생각을
And now the
네.
Group B is the former SKT family group.
네.
김도우 선수하고 어윤수 선수가 진출을 하면 되거든요. 그러니까
네.
토요일
Yeah, I
날
just made a draft sketch.
이진영 선수와 박영우 선수의 탈락을
And my
기원합니다.
picture is completed.
구체적으로 콕 집어서 말씀을 해주셨어요. 그러면
I hope that dark and innovation are eliminated
2위 진출자
in
나와
that
만날
group.
2위 진출자
That's the
누굴까요?
big picture I'm
김동호
looking at.
어윤수 중에서.
Smart man.
어윤수 선수일 것 같아요.
그렇군요. 알겠습니다. 그러면 어윤수 선수와의 다음 만남을 즐겁게 상상을 해보고 저희는 기다릴게요. 마지막으로 팬분들께 한마디 해주시죠.
Who do you want to meet from Group B in the next round? And TY wants to meet Sue,
설레발을
he
칠까봐
says.
굉장히 두려웠어요. 떨어지면은 굉장히 많이 욕을 많이
I had a lot
먹을
of
것
pressure.
같아서 긴장을 많이 했는데 올라가게 돼서
To make it to the next round.
앞으로도 이렇게 좋은 모습 보여드릴 수 있도록 열심히
A lot of people were talking about the top seed cards.
네, 알겠습니다. 다시 한번 1위 진출 축하드립니다.
And that was my biggest pressure, but since I made
전태양
it,
선수의 이변
I'm
없는
really
완벽한
happy.
경기력 잘 감상을 해봤고요. 이야기도
Sick. Well,
나눠봤으니까.
I'm happy that TY's moving on. I think he's a great player.
yeah.
He looked awesome.
He definitely deserves to be in that round of 8, and maybe this is his GSL season. He won that WESG tournament, and now that he's tasted that much money, I think he wants some more.
We are going to go to a short break. When we return, we're going to see who will be eliminated first in tonight's day 1 of the round of 16 GSL Code S.